My husband decided, without telling me, to move his sister and her two kids into our home. When they showed up at my door with suitcases, what I felt wasn't anger, it was freedom. That day, I didn't just close a door, I opened the one that led back to my own life. Because sometimes the thing you call family is what suffocates you, and you have to fight just to breathe again. The morning light slipped through gray clouds, filling Mira's small but perfectly ordered apartment. She sat at her tiny kitchen table, sorting bills by date, checking every number twice. It was a ritual she'd followed for 5 years. Nothing in her life was left to chance. She liked to say she was a woman held together by structure. She took a sip from her cold coffee, the one in a chipped mug that said, "Build your own roof, no one can take it from you." That phrase had become her mantra. Because this home was hers, every inch of it paid for with her sweat and sacrifice. Her one-bedroom apartment on the edge of the city wasn't big, but it was her fortress, her pride, her dream made real. Mira had worked in a sewing factory for years, saving every spare coin from her modest paycheck. No vacations, no new clothes, no luxuries. People called her stingy, but she'd just smile and say, "My house will be designer, not my dress." When the realtor finally handed her the keys, she had cried quietly, sitting on the bare floor, staring at the walls. "It's mine," she whispered. That night, she slept on a blanket with only a pillow under her head, and no bed had ever felt softer. 6 months later, Alex walked into her life. They met at a friend's get together. He was confident, charming, loud, and funny. A civil engineer who loved surfing, road trips, and weekend adventures. Mira hadn't expected to meet someone who made her laugh like that. A month later, he showed up at her door with one suitcase and a bunch of white chrysanthemums. "Why pay rent when you've already got the coziest place in the city?" he'd said, smiling. Mira hesitated for a moment, then let him in. Living together felt exciting at first. His easygoing attitude seemed refreshing after years of self discipline, but over time, that same ease became carelessness. The scattered socks, the dirty plates, the forgotten promises, small things that chipped away at her peace. Still, she told herself, love grows through patience. A year later, they got married quietly, without extravagance. Mira didn't believe in flashy weddings. One day can't measure a lifetime, she'd said. Their ceremony was simple: a few relatives, a modest cake, and a shared smile. The first years went smoothly. Alex paid part of the bills, brought flowers now and then, made breakfast on Sundays, but little by little, his attention faded. The couch filled with clutter, the sink filled with dishes, and Mira's reminders went unheard. "Please, just put the plates in the washer," she'd ask. "I forgot," he'd reply, with that same boyish grin. Every "I forgot" took a small piece of her respect with it. Then everything changed when Alex's sister, Clara, ran into trouble. Clara worked in a beauty salon, always polished and confident. Her husband Marco had left her for another woman, abandoning her with two sons. Since that day, Alex's phone never stopped ringing. "Hang in there, I'll figure something out. You're not alone." Every evening was filled with those calls. At first, Mira was sympathetic. Family was family, after all. But as the weeks passed, those conversations grew longer, more secretive. Alex began taking his phone to the balcony, whispering in low tones, pacing back and forth. One night, while they were watching a movie, Mira gently said, "Maybe we can help her a little financially. We've saved some money. It could make things easier." But Alex quickly waved her off. "No, she's too proud. She'd never take money." Mira almost laughed. Proud? The woman with the designer handbag and the diamond watch? Pride was the last word she'd use to describe Clara. Weeks went by. The phone calls multiplied. Then one morning, while tidying the desk, Mira found a small piece of paper covered in Alex's handwriting. "Moving, 22,000. Deposit, 15,000. School, 9,000. Total, 46,000. She froze. "Moving? Who's moving?" Her stomach tightened. That evening, Alex came home, acting normal, kissing her forehead like nothing was wrong. But something inside Mira had already shifted. 3 days later, at noon, the doorbell rang. When she looked through the peephole, her heart dropped. There stood Clara with 2 kids, 3 giant suitcases, and a face full of impatience. Mira, open up! Alex said we can move in, she shouted. The kids stood behind her, looking awkward and tired. Mira couldn't breathe. She stepped back, pressing a hand over her mouth. No, he wouldn't have. But deep down, she knew he had. Alex said, "You're home. Stop hiding," Clara yelled, banging on the door. Mira walked to the bathroom, turned on the faucet full blast to drown out the noise. She sat on the edge of the tub, shaking, tears mixing with the sound of rushing water. That's when anger replaced shock. He had planned this, the phone calls, the numbers, the secrecy, all of it. By the time Alex came home that evening, Clara and the kids were still outside. "Why are you here? Why aren't you inside?" he asked, confused. "She won't open," Clara said, half crying. Alex knocked firmly. "Mira, open the door." Mira wiped her face, took a deep breath, and unlocked it. When the door opened, the scene looked frozen. Alex with his keys in hand, Clara clutching her kids, suitcases stacked like barricades. "Why didn't you open?" Alex asked. Mira leaned against the doorframe. "Because I want to hear from you why your sister is standing at my door with her whole life in bags." "She lost her apartment," Alex said. "She has nowhere to go. It's temporary." Mira's voice was calm but cold. "And you decided that without asking me?" "We're family," Alex shot back. "Family helps family. Family also respects boundaries," Mira replied. Clara stepped forward, tears suddenly replaced by persuasion. "Just 1 month, I promise. The kids are quiet. We'll help with chores." Mira shook her head. "This apartment has 1 bedroom. 4 people won't fit. And this isn't about space. It's about respect." "So you're throwing us out?" Clara shouted, loud enough for the neighbors to hear. "You're heartless." The words stung, but Mira didn't flinch. She calmly closed the door, turned the lock, and walked away. The pounding continued for a while, then faded. She sat on the couch, took out her phone, and called a number she hadn't used in years. "Hello, Ivan. It's Mira. You helped me buy my apartment 3 years ago. I need to sell it." Ivan hesitated. "That's sudden. Everything okay?" "Family problems," she said simply. "How fast can it be done?" "If I list it today, we'll have buyers in no time." "Do it," she said. "Price doesn't matter. I just need to be free." When Ivan arrived an hour later to take photos, Mira felt a strange peace. For the first time in months, she was in control again. That evening, Alex came home, seeing her sitting by the window. "You're not serious," he said softly. "You're really selling?" "Yes," she answered, "because this house doesn't feel like mine anymore." "I just wanted to help my sister," he said. "And forgot your wife," Mira replied. "Do you realize what you did? You made choices for both of us without me." Alex lowered his eyes. "You're right," he murmured. "But please, don't do this. It's already done," she said firmly. "This home used to mean safety. Now it feels like a cage." The next day, the listing went live. That afternoon, a young couple came to see it. The woman ran to the window. "It's so bright here," she said. Mira smiled faintly. "That's what I loved most about it." The man looked around, nodding. "It feels peaceful." Mira wanted to tell him it used to be. That evening, Alex suggested maybe we can buy the next one together. Mira turned to him. "If you really mean together, then every decision will be made as equals. No more secrets." I nodded quietly, "I promise." Weeks later, they moved into a new place, an airy little studio in the city center, full of light and possibility. The first night, they had a simple dinner, clinking glasses over takeout food. "Let's get it right this time," Mira said softly. We will, Alex replied, taking her hand. Over the next months, things slowly healed. Clara found a new job, rented a small place for herself and the boys. One day, she showed up at their door with a cake in her hands. I wanted to say sorry, she murmured. I shouldn't have come like that. Mira smiled. It's over. We all learned something. And she meant it. Months turned into years. Mira and Alex built a quieter, stronger love. One evening on their balcony, Alex raised his glass. To us, he said, to learning the hard way. Mira smiled back, and to realizing that respect is rarer and stronger than love. The sky turned orange, city lights flickering on below them. 3 years later, Mira sat in that same balcony chair, her baby girl sleeping in her arms. Look, Sophia, she whispered. This city once held a woman who fought to protect her home, and she won. She looked down at her daughter's tiny face and felt something powerful peace. Because she finally understood sometimes what saves a relationship isn't love, it's boundaries. The courage to draw them and the strength to stand by them. And in that moment, with the soft hum of the city beneath her and the warmth of her family beside her, Mira knew she had found exactly what she'd been fighting for all along real freedom.